Well, Senator Obama told Joe that he wants to spread the wealth. Joining Joe and me to help explain what that really means is senior economic writer for the Wall Street Journal, Stephen Moore. Stephen, welcome.
Hi, Mike.
Good to be here.
Thank you for having me.
What does Barack Obama mean when he says, let's spread the wealth?
Well, first of all, it is such a thrill to be on the show with Joe the Plumber, the most famous man in America. I mean, this is so cool. Yeah. And I got to just say one more thing about this. Ladies and gentlemen, aren't you outraged by the way the left-wing attack machine in the media, the New York Times, and the left establishment has tried to destroy a man who creates jobs, he works for a living, he has served his country. This is an outrage. Don't you agree with me that it's an outrage the way they're treating this guy? So anyway, Joe, you're a great American hero. Thank you for doing what you're doing. And the whole point of your question was really the question that's on everyone's mind, Mike. It's how do you create more jobs if you're going to tax the businesses that create the jobs? My old friend Dick Armey, who I used to work for, used to say, liberals love jobs, but they hate employers. You know, you can't have one without the other, right? And so I think that was really the heart of your question. And you know what? Barack Obama has never answered that question. How are you going to create more of these jobs when people like you are trying to grow a business? You know, if you make $250,000 for a businessman, that's not that much money, Mike. And I looked at the statistics. Businesses who have over 20 employers, those are still small businesses.
Right.
Half of those businesses will be hit with the Obama tax increase, the spread the wealth tax increase.
Well, he has said that his tax plan would not touch small business owners. He even tried to say that it wouldn't touch a guy like Joe if Joe was able to one day buy the plumbing business and operate it himself and hire people. Tell me, though, how it would affect a person in business, small business, and what he would do. Well,
first of all, I heard Barack Obama talking about you the other day, and he said, I don't know too many plumbers who make $250,000. By the way, his tax plan would actually affect any business with income over $200,000, just to be precise.
Yeah.
But in any case, it's true, there's not that many plumbers who make over $200,000. But if, let's say Joe decides he's going to create a business, and he's going to go out and hire 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 other plumbers, he's building up a business. Now all of a sudden it's certainly plausible that he's going to have $500,000 of income. And if you have $500,000 income under the Obama plan, that's going to cost you $30,000, $40,000 of extra income tax. That's probably going to mean, Mike, that you're going to have to lay off one of those workers. So this is not a pro-jobs platform, in my opinion.
Well, there's actually more to that. I mean, not just with the taxes, but with his health.
Well, good point.
Yeah, I mean,
really good point.
You know, the employer's going to have to pay the health tax. He's not going to be able to hire as many people, or he's going to have to lay people off. I mean, so it hurts small businesses again.
Yeah, and that's a really good point because, you know, under the Obama plan, they have something called pay or play, which is if you don't provide health care for your workers, then you actually have to pay an extra tax for it. Now, look, everybody wants people covered with health care, but if you're a struggling small businessman with 3 or 4 employees, you might not be able to have the extra income to do it. So these are a lot of the kind of decisions that mean whether a business stays in business or whether it goes out of business.
Joe, if you have, let's say, 3 or 4 employees in a small business operation and the government says, okay, I'm going to take 40% of your money, not 32% or 35, whatever it is, and then you've got to provide health care, and then you're going to have to pay Social Security and Medicare, and you start adding all of this up.
Yes.
What you ultimately end up doing, would seem, is you just say, well, instead of hiring 6 people, I'm going to hire 4, maybe 5. That means somebody doesn't have a job that would have had a job had the government not spread the wealth.
Well, exactly. And I mean, that's the crux of the whole problem right there. And essentially, what if you're just a 2 or 3 man operation? If you got to pay health insurance on 2 other guys, and so your profit's $30,000, why even have a business? I mean, just, you know, throw it up and go work for somebody else, you know, that isn't a small business. Then you kind of run small business right out of America.
And, of course, small business is, as you know, Mike, and you know, Joe, I mean, small business is the backbone of this economy. If you look over the last year or so, the last couple of years, about 90% of all the new jobs in this economy have been, I mean, I know in this crowd there are small business owners. They're the ones who make this economy function. And again, it's just really difficult to, we should be looking at ways, Mike, and this is why I like your idea of the fair tax, lowering the taxes on businesses so they can become more competitive. And John McCain is right, in my opinion, on the corporate income tax, too. I mean, how are we going to compete when you're talking about big businesses? I met with Fred Smith of Federal Express.
Right.
He said, look, if we could lower that corporate income tax, I can hire thousands of new, you know, he already hires 30,000 American workers. He said, I can hire a lot more if we get this corporate income tax down.
Joe, as you're getting all this attention, what is the one thing that you wish America knew about you that they haven't heard yet? Because, I mean, you know, all we're hearing is this rattle of stuff. But what is it about Joe Wurzelbacher that has not been said to America that you wish would be said?
Honestly, actually, it comes back to my family. I got no desire to be in the limelight. You know, my biggest and most important thing in my life is my son. You know, I've taken 9 years. I just received custody of him, so I just want to make a good life for me and him. Other than that, you know, I like to be left alone. I'm a pretty private individual. You know, I have opinions, and that's about the extent of it. I asked a question, and here we are.
Well, you asked a great question.
You did.
The answer may absolutely turn this whole election on its ear. And by the way, we're happy to have both your son and your dad here. Really delight to welcome them. When we come back, Joe and Stephen will take some questions from the audience. Stay with us.